Welcome back to Black Coffee. We have been on a 3 week vacation, hiatus, stop, whatever. So we're glad to have you all back. We're glad to be back. Today actually is kind of a good day for us because last year this time on June 27th, Jack and I did our very first episode, um, glitches and all. We did it on Instagram. We called friends and family. We're like, tune in. We don't care if you stay for a minute or 5 minutes or whatever. We just need you there. I think we had like maybe 3 or 4 people on that first live, but it's picked up. So now we're on YouTube, and I think we're maybe at 120 subscribers, which to most people isn't very much at all, but we love it. So whether it's one person or 120, these are people that keep it in the
Mm-hmm.
show. So now for us, we're going to start this off. This is going to be episode 46. Now, I do want to, uh, we got some comments, recent comments on YouTube that I wasn't able to reply to for whatever reason. This is from CM, commented on episode 33, which was our Alton Coleman and Deborah Brown episode. One of her CM's comments was, I guess they lived in the area, so very familiar with what was going on at the time. CM says that their mom was in their mid 20s at the time, so they're very young. She said I wasn't baked yet, and remembers vividly seeing them on the news when all this was going on, and how one of her aunts would watch her daughters while they played outside and would make them come in the house early because of Alton Coleman and Deborah Brown. So they basically make the kids come in early because, of course, this was a time when you could go outside and just play all day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and also, the discussion about the family dynamic when dealing with the Uncle Pete's in the family was on point! Exclamation. Um, and I have known some Uncle Pete's myself, said CM. So I felt that, and I love open discussion. So I really dig the open and unedited nature of your show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We say it all the time. We want people to write in to tell us about how familiar they are with stories, make corrections to us if we miss something or mess something up. Let us know. We love that. Other comments that I've received. Let's see here. Um,
If y'all hear a storm, it's like a bad storm outside, all of a sudden out of nowhere. So I'm sorry if y'all hear a bunch of like lightning, thundering, hail.
it's coming from your direction. Is it coming south? Oh, so I'll hear it in a minute.
In a minute. So I just
It's been
wanted to, I
pretty.
don't know if y'all can hear it. It is like really loud. So I didn't know if
No,
y'all.
but it's been pretty overcast here today. But the humidity and the heat has stayed. But it is overcast outside, so you're gonna hear the air because it's still hot. You know,
Yeah.
this,
I'll get it in a couple days.
yeah. So it'll move here and then move your way in a few days. Um, so there was someone, Becky Allen, commented about episode 17 about the Carr brothers. She was saying that she was in Dodge City, Kansas, on her way to basically give birth to her son when this was happening. So we've got a few corrections. We love them. We appreciate them. We appreciate all of your words. Whether or not they're complimentary, we still appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching. So again, this is 1 year in. We've continually done this show for 1 year. And then recently we've taken a break. We've had graduations and family vacations and just some time just to not do this, which is good. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
So for anyone that is new, we thank you all for subscribing and coming back to see us and also watching our previous episodes. Um, for the next year, I guess, until we take another break, we'll be talking about we try to bring stories and subjects that you might not have heard of. But some of these things you have heard of. You might have seen them on TV, but what we try to do mainly is bring a different perspective. So we talk about them differently. And like Sam said, it is open discussion and unedited. One of the stories I really want to talk about is Betty Broderick. So sometimes this season, we're going to talk about Betty Broderick. This was a San Diego wife and mother who killed her ex-husband and his new wife after they basically drove her crazy. You've seen it on Forensic Files in American Justice, and now there's like a Dirty John TV movie about it, but we will be talking about that. Here we go. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the church announcements because that is what we do. These announcements, and the announcements are as follows. We like the kind of jingles. Uh, our offering plate is kind of empty, y'all. Y'all can always give to Cash App at Black Coffee Crime, or you can just call me and make a donation over the phone. We send prayer water out. You know,
It is the church
the
anniversary.
church anniversary. Yes, we trying to build a fund and stuff. hmm
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we just want to let you know how this goes. We are not law enforcement professionals. We are just on here. We are just talking. We are having an open discussion. If you have any correction, we miss information, please let us know, but be polite at all times, be respectful. If you have a family member that is somehow involved in any of the things that we talk about, we are not here to attack them or you because we don't know you. We're just talking about things that we find in the news. So it's out there. We're gonna talk about it, but at all times we try to be sensitive. If there's something especially heinous, sometimes we don't even say the names of the victims. We just talk about them in general.
Mm-hmm.
Because not because we're trying to disrespect or forget the victims, but sometimes family members are still living and you might hear about it. So we don't want to reopen the wound any more than it already is. We're not trying to shake you up, at all.
Not at all.
So we're gonna continue. This again is gonna be episode 46, and we're gonna just play catch up today on some stories that have happened in the last 3 weeks. Um, and as always, obey your ushers and respect your pastor. And those are your announcements as follows. Govern yourself accordingly. All right, so we talked about our 1 year anniversary, so we've got that. Let's talk about this is not about crime or anything, but let's talk about the Black girl contingent that is going to Tokyo in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We know we're going to hear, but what about everybody else? Oh, we get that.
That's another show.
That's a different show. That's
Mhm.
ESPN. But what we don't talk about is David Carter High School alumni
Ow.
Harry Richardson.
Yes.
Did I say it? Let me say it again. David Carter High School alumni Shakari Richardson. Now, was it 2019 or early 2020? She finished last in one of in the world championship, dead ass last, dead last. This girl came back with feet like Apollo or something. Her Olympic trial race.
It was ridiculous.
Left them people behind.
Ridiculous.
Like, why are y'all here? Were you standing still? Were you here? Were you participating? What are you doing? And
They might as well be sitting in the stands.
That's not to bash any of the other competitors, but man, she proved herself. And she proved herself after like a week before her Olympic trial, her mother passed away. So that is probably, besides losing a child, probably the most devastating thing that she's 20 years old, she loses her mom. But she showed up and she showed out. And let me tell you how many tears I shed when she went to the stands and her grandmother.
Child lost it.
No good.
I lost it. I said Brandy immediately. I was like, girl, like I can't. I'm over here just bawling.
Yeah, it was very special.
I was just. It's when that's when you realize the grandma prayers come through. Yeah, that's how I took it. I took it that her grandma was like embracing, because I think her grandma may have raised her a little bit.
Mhm.
And her grandma, I just felt like her grandma was like, there go my prayers. And I was just like,
So for those of y'all out there who don't have a big mama, or who did not have a big mama, if y'all got Ninas and Nanas and Mimis and Deborah and because you call your Grandma Deborah or something like that. Y'all don't know what the hugs mean. I haven't had a hug
Mm-mm.
like that since I was 14, and I wish that I could have felt that. That was one of them. That was one of the babies. Okay, you made it. Everything hugs. Oh yeah, that did it. I think I cried because of the hug. 'Cause I mean,
Mhm.
all of her was wrapped around Shakari. That was beautiful. And everyone else has seemed to rally around Shakari as well. She's gotten a lot of hate, which is so stupid because of the way she looks. Her nails, her hair, she's ghetto, she's this, what? Um, the girl is fashionable. That's all I'm saying. And she
My
has
imme-
her own
my
style.
immediate reaction to that is, do y'all not know who Jackie is? That was I was like, are they serious?
Y'all forgot
Do
about
they
FloJo.
not know who Jackie is?
Y'all forgot about FloJo. Y'all
How you
forgot about
forget
FloJo.
her? She was
And
known for her nails being
the
like
nails and
this.
being the fastest woman on the planet ever.
With her extension, she was known for that. So I was like, how could you
And then they're
really?
talking about she's manly. Why? I don't know why.
Yes, they
First of
did.
all, she's an elite athlete. She runs that race in under 11 seconds. That wasn't even her best time. I think she did it in 10:60 something. Her best time is under 10:50. Um,
What
she
is
doesn't have,
manly? I'm trying to figure out what
I
on her
don't
is
know
manly.
because she doesn't have any body fat. She has a
Because she
small
doesn't
body.
have any body fat or no breast.
She does a cheetah
There's some
have
folks
any
who ain't
body
running
fat?
around ain't got no breasts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think she's absolutely beautiful. And
If
for
she
those
was
people,
fat, they was gonna be complaining. If she was too skinny, they're gonna complain. If she had big breasts, they're gonna complain. If she had little breasts, they're gonna complain.
Yeah,
They just want to complain.
girl, go
that's
out there
it.
and show your magic and work your jelly. We are very proud of you. We are proud of Simone Biles. We are proud of the other gymnast, Jordan. I forget her last name. She was out there acting up at the Olympic trials. There's another Simone in swimming. There's two girls going for swimming. The Hulk in the shot put, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am,
And I was looking
ma'am.
up the name of the young lady that had the daughter and was told her name is Alison Felix and
Yeah,
was told she wasn't gonna be able to do nothing because she's a mother.
five
And
Olympics she's made. Five. Allison made. She's been on the. She's raced the 4x4 in every single Olympics that she's been in. So the it's just all kinds of sprinkling of black girl magic out there. But it's not just magic. This is hard work.
yes,
These young women work very, very hard. They sacrifice a lot for their family time, all of that to get there. So congratulations to all of them going to the Olympics and also
yes.
to all of those that competed. Actually, I had a friend that I used to work with, her son. He did not make the team, but he was competing for in hurdles and he made it to the semifinals.
Congrats.
He made it to, he actually went to school with my niece, both in high school and at the University of Houston. So congratulations to Pavel on that great journey. He had a lot going on this year. So congratulations. Right. Another thing that happened in the last few weeks is the passing of a federal bill that makes Juneteenth a federal holiday. Juneteenth, for those who don't know, okay, so after the Civil War ends, well, before the Civil War ended, it was basically said, hey, slavery is over. Well, no one told the people in Texas. And so a year after the war, you still had people being enslaved in Texas. Um, so June 19th, 1865 is when that's when the enslaved people were actually set free in Texas, making basically the abolishment of slavery in this country an absolute, or in theory an absolute. So since that time, uh former enslaved people and their ancestors and their descendants have been celebrating Juneteenth on June 19th every single year. A lot of people outside of Texas and outside the South really didn't celebrate it because we really didn't know what it was. And I won't lie, I had heard of Juneteenth growing up, but it really wasn't that big growing up in California.
My
Uh,
mom said every year that they would celebrate it. It was first, she said it was called Texas Day, and then well, it was Juneteenth, then Texas Day. Then have you heard of? Do you remember them having the old timers picnic at Fairmount Park?
Mm-hmm.
That was all. That
That was
was
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth
Okay. Okay.
because it was
So
always that day, and then it, they always had it at the park every year. And I've heard of that, but I didn't know why we were going to the
yeah.
park. How the churches would come and feed people. But over time the name changed, but that was the reason that
The
they
reason
were.
that I didn't even know that. Because I mean, of course, we went to the park during those times, so we didn't know. But yeah, now it's a federal holiday, and of course, you've got people like, why are we celebrating? Why is it a big deal? Um, why wouldn't it be a big deal? But we already know the why the opposition doesn't want it. But it's a federal holiday, so you're gonna get the day off work. I think Juneteenth as a holiday is more relevant than Columbus Day because we celebrate. Now, look at the irony of Columbus Day and people wanting to keep that as a federal holiday. You are celebrating as an American, as patriots. We celebrate an Italian sailing a Spanish ship
Mm-hmm.
to the Caribbean to discover America,
To rape and pillage.
to rape and pillage. So again, as patriots, this is an American holiday. How so? When the person that supposedly discovered America wasn't what what is American, but he is an Italian guy who sailed for a different country to claim it for a different country. So he was claiming America for Spain or his discoveries for Spain. So why are we celebrating that?
To discover something where people were already there.
We're already there for a different country.
You were last to the party because there's folks
Mm-hmm.
already here, but you discovered something. That
Right.
was already here.
But we want to
Yeah.
keep Columbus Day and we want to fight about Columbus Day when there's nothing American about Columbus Day.
At all.
Nothing to even keep that. So Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. I'm quite sure there's going to be, there's going to be states like Arizona doesn't celebrate MLK Day. So there's going to be states that probably won't observe it. But I don't think for,
They don't? Arizona?
no, no, they don't.
Still don't?
They still don't.
That's crazy.
No, they still don't. So Juneteenth, the descendants of enslaved people, we don't care really about federal holidays. We don't, the holidays that are on the books and on the calendars, we celebrate them because of we get to be together, not necessarily what's on how it's defined in a dictionary. Look at 4th of July. I'm sorry. But Black people and maybe some other ethnicities, we don't really celebrate 4th of July because it's American Independence Day because we didn't have any part of that.
Well, we
We
have
celebrated
the Confederacy Day or something
in Alabama.
was closed down. Like I'm not like uh, like the library, and I can't remember if the library was closed down, but we were trying to do something and it was closed down and we didn't know why. And it was some kind of Confederate Day, Confederacy Day, something like that.
Mm.
But we can't celebrate because I thought the Confederacy had lost and that they were treasonous. Uh, but yeah, yeah. But again, we celebrate like 4th of July. Uh,
Family.
Independence Day is as it is was not is not has not been and is not for us. So we celebrate it as the descendants of enslaved people because this was a day that we probably did not have to work. That your
Mm-hmm.
family would be able to gather together and just celebrate each other, being able to see that person again until the next year. So that's why we
Yeah.
celebrate 4th of July. That's it. This
That's
is
why.
why. This is why. So we really don't care about the making a holiday, a federal holiday, or anything like that. We celebrate family. We celebrate connections. So Juneteenth is another connection for us, and we will celebrate that without and have been without the stamp of approval from, the United States government. So I got my Juneteenth t-shirt on. I got this from shout out to the Pan African Connection down in Oak Cliff, in South Oak Cliff,
Hey.
Bayless. So you guys can go down there.
Ooh.
I think they still have these t-shirts. Um, so Juneteenth, and you can notice the red, black, and the green eyeshadow I got on today.
And we did not plan to be wearing black and white and such.
No,
That just happened.
we don't discuss this ahead of time. We are always surprised on how we look when we are on camera. Every single time. Now, before we started, I did have to tell Jackie about her black lipstick. Listen, that's her signature. Okay, I just want to say that that's her signature. That is Jackie's thing. She works the hell out of that black lipstick. I love it. All of it. All of it. All right. So yes, all of it. Quickly. Not about crime. We're gonna get to these two crime stories before we get, people in the comments like, when y'all gonna start talking about the crime? Down there. That's when we're gonna do it. Down there, down the timeline.
I don't want us to do the stuff beforehand. They just
skip
the message.
That ain't what we do here. That ain't what we do. But what we do is do what the hell
we want.
All right. And so what we want to talk about right now is TikTok. So Meg Thee Stallion came out with this song. She dropped a song. It's called Thought What? What is it called?
I think it's Thought something.
Yeah. Right. It's Meg Thee Stallion. So TikTok picked it up. It's trending. Well, the Black creators on TikTok have gone on
strike.
And normally there's a, it's when a
it's called Thought Sheet.
Thought shit. I say it. I ain't scared. So the song is called Thought Shit. So, and that's THOT. Normally when there's a song that's trending, you got the Black creators out and they create a dance, and then it just goes everywhere. But what happens when the Black creators do this? You'll see white creators come right behind them, or I'll say non-Black creators come right behind them and get millions and millions of views on a dance in a trend that's not theirs. And they will not,
and literally label the creators. Like they're the ones that
they
are
will
trending,
not
like they did it.
Crazy. We're like, wait a minute, didn't I see this? So in the creator, the thing about TikTok is so very easy to tag a creator and give them their due, and keep sharing and liking and sharing and resharing. But they won't do that. So this time, the Black creators are like, we're gonna see what y'all gonna do. Now this song literally gives the instructions. This song is like the Cupid shuffle.
Put your hands on your thighs.
Hands on your knees.
That's the first. Hands on your knees, put your hands on your thighs. Hands on your knees, put your hands on your thighs. That's the thing.
But they couldn't do that. All I saw was, wait.
The one girl that did this.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. So if you're so creative, then do that. Then go ahead and create.
And then don't get mad and come back with another one where they picking up their middle finger at everybody because you played yourself.
Right. You get mad because I didn't give you nothing to steal?
Because you played yourself. You should have just, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't just have done anything.
Just sit this one out, boo.
And then I saw a video where we see a white tea lady doing kind of the moves to the song. So everybody like, okay, she maybe understood the assignment. She took it off another Black creator.
Failed.
One of the Black creators who isn't a typical Black, it's the Black creators on TikTok, they're all known. It's a crew of them. So this particular Black creator wasn't one of the knowns. She just looking at it like, hey, let me do a dance to the song, and did a dance to the song, and they took it, and now they're recreating that one, and they're not even crediting her. So she was like, "What? I didn't know this was gonna happen."
Girl, we told you.
strike. Where was the strike?
We told you, everybody on my For You page, everybody is sitting there like duetting or stitching the videos of the non-black creators and users not dancing to the song.
Jackie is the girl. She got shorts on. She got like a floral shirt,
Let me see
brown
because I literally went.
hair that is doing the video. Because I did see one girl that was non-black who was doing the video.
She
I mean,
has. She has. I don't know if y'all can see it.
that's the girl that redid it.
Yeah, you think it's hers. You would think that she figured it out, but someone literally said this comes from a black creator, and she didn't even credit them.
So basically, she took the stickers off the Rubik's Cube and moved them around.
Yeah.
The whole reason there is a strike in the first place.
That's what we
Well,
got.
she originally the girl did tag someone, but she tagged an Italian girl, and it's the Italian girl who got it from the black creator.
I think I
So,
see an Italian girl because she looked a
hmm
little brown.
hmm
She just wasn't our brown. She was a cousin brown.
Shame on
right.
it all. Shame
And
on it all.
I was getting it. So but I was like, yeah, they're gonna be doing this in a minute.
Shame
But
on it all.
there is another black a male and a female who did a dance, but it is so they ain't
So
nobody
complicated that yeah, I don't think unless
That's gonna be
unless somebody's got some professional dance experience that they're gonna be able to catch on to that particular dance because they
there
did.
was one girl that was a professional dancer that was doing some other song that some dance she had stole from some black creators, and it was so bad that she took it down and turned off all her comments.
be best.
She
Mm.
was wearing, I think she was wearing like a brown outfit. I can't remember what her name is.
Yes, she got on there. She said, "I don't do these TikTok dances. I'm a professional dancer."
Oh, huh?
And she got up there and did.
She was doing
She a
all
funny looking thing. She
You
was
know
a
what
funny
she
looking
looked
thing.
like? You
I
remember the
just saw
little,
her last night.
you know those little worms from Men in Black?
She does.
Those worms. She looked like that, or she looked
I do
like
know what you're talking about. She was in
or
a car. She was in the car talking about she was
yes.
professional.
And they
But
showed
the
her.
dance she had on.
She either looked like those worms or she looked like Randall from Monsters Inc. Whichever you want to, whichever one.
but she really the one when she was in the black outfit that she stole from the black content creators. I think in the original video it was three black girls,
Mhm.
and she's in a corner like doing it, and it was so bad. It was like overly forced moves, too big of moves, and looked like she was like trying to be funny.
Mhm.
She was for real, but she ended up taking it down and she turned off all her comments because I went to her TikTok. So I was like, I, and she's in some kind of dance studio and she's dancing. I'm like, girl, like,
Let that go.
it. That's not it. It's not it.
Yeah. So we don't. We
She
we were
dancing hard to
distracted.
the bug.
And you know what? I think that goes to show in bigger ways, in much bigger ways, it goes to show the power of the what kind of power we have economically. And when we don't do things and we agree, we are in a majority agreements not to do things, how much we can move things or make things stop. Um, and that goes across the board, not and we don't all have to be of one mind and collective mind because not everyone thinks the same even in our community, but if you are in agreement, if you just wanted to test the waters and see what would happen, this is what happens. You could shut down an entire social media platform because
Really?
you don't want to show we don't want to show our natural creativity, which is something that comes naturally to most of us. um all we have to do is hear music and we bop into it even as babies. So it's been fun to see
Heck,
that.
And they
Uh,
literally, I really don't think they even get it. Like
no,
they
it's as if it's an attack because we
so they're
don't.
getting on camera with the song on and doing this.
Yeah. And into certain people, it feels like we're attacking them or the creators are attacking them because they are not giving them content. Why are you doing this as an attack on me? How much?
Come up with
How?
your own chi, and it'll be whack, and then you'll end up deleting it. But come up with your own chi.
Go ahead. Go ahead. See what happens.
good
Your,
luck.
your thing.
Good luck.
Yeah. It's all bad. All right. We did want to talk briefly about OnlyFans, just cause, and then I promise we're gonna get to these stories. Okay, so OnlyFans, since we're talking about social media, OnlyFans apparently is the owner or CEO or whatever is trying to take the adult content out of OnlyFans, trying to get donors and investors to basically make it mainstream. What's the point?
Yeah,
It's
no.
like, what's the point? You've got, of course, you've got Pornhub and all these other places, but those sites are straight porn. OnlyFans can be anyone
Right.
in the adult industry or even not in the adult industry, bringing strictly adult content of in many different ways. Other than that, if you take that out, then it's just like it's Instagram.
Pretty
I
much.
don't I don't understand how this is gonna work. I promise you, I've been thinking about an OnlyFans page. Uh, Listen, if Shanae from 600 Pound Life can have an OnlyFans page, Shanae, you remember Shanae?
Does she have OnlyFans?
Yes, you can have an OnlyFans page.
What's she showing on there?
Your face. Oh my God, your face. Yeah, and listen, and you know what? And I didn't mean to fat shame because she was on 600 Pound Life, but I'm not. It's not even her size because I'm not. I'm not a
Oh,
size 4, 6, 7, or 8. Um,
the lady who did the makeup and had the big, the one who needed help down the stairs.
Is
That
she?
one.
No, she's the one that asked the doctor, "Do we believe in God?" She don't want
Huh?
nobody who don't believe in
Who
God
who
working.
is watching her OnlyFans? I don't even like her. But who watch?
I mean, it takes all kinds.
I
So I'm not.
mean, I know some brothers that they like them forward up.
I'm not here to fat shame.
No,
Uh,
I'm saying I don't like her too, but
I mean,
See, there's somebody for everybody. There's enough money
I thought she had
for
a man.
everybody to make a
bro,
killing.
Freddie Fresh is gone.
Oh, he gone?
Bro, Freddie Fresh is gone. Freddie Fresh done married
He
somebody
was
else.
sneaking her on pizzas in that hospital.
Freddie Fresh is gone.
She done had a couple boos
Yeah,
since.
which in itself, her having that many boyfriends is a crime in itself. So it fits right in with Black Coffee and Crime.
Eat your
Um,
snacks, sis.
she
Eat your snacks.
all
They
the time.
come. Eat all the snacks you want to. They coming anyway, though.
This is true. This is true. But the reason I say it's criminal that she had that many boyfriends is, again, it has nothing to do with her size or her eating
No.
habits. It has everything to do with her hygiene and her attitude.
Yes.
That's
It's her
nasty.
hygiene attitude. She has a bad attitude. And she
That's
don't.
nasty. Sinead was sitting up in that car down in Houston, and it was like 203 degrees in there. And so it smelled like corn chips and puppy butt. Like it was just nasty. I'm sorry, y'all. This ain't got nothing to do with the show. All right, we are going to go ahead and move into the crime. All right, so
Get in trouble.
um there was a story recently about a young lady who was shot by a cop in Flint, Michigan. And before we jump to conclusions, this, in my opinion, was a completely justified shooting. Jackie, you read the story and you were telling me about it. I seen a little bit of the video, and what I saw in the video broke my heart. I could not watch the entire thing. I read that basically this was suicide by cop. The young lady's boyfriend had died or been killed a couple days or weeks prior, and she was shooting at the cop, and he shot her. And immediately after shooting her, he fell to the ground, like completely devastated. And I was like, this is a whole ass human person who apparently takes their job very seriously, cares about his community, and the last thing he probably wants to do to anybody at any time is
Right.
kill them. And you could see
And
his
it
partner.
was during the Juneteenth parade. So, you know, it's kids out there. He's looking at it. He's technically looking at it as there's children out here I gotta protect. It's a whole parade happening. Because she drove up to him where he was actually one of the traffic cops that was helping the parade move the parade and the cars, and she pulled his gun out on him. He asked her to, please put your gun away. He asked her for at least 2 minutes. She just, she
So
was just,
she was 19 years old. They have it according to the story from a WCBD News 2. She had not, her name had not been released to the public at the time of the this article came out a week ago. She died. She didn't die at the scene. She died of her injuries at the hospital. So, just shooting her. He didn't even know he killed her, but just shooting her was enough to just completely just take him out. And apparently, it says that he was working the traffic, like Jackie said, and she allegedly drove up to him and fired shots at him about 2:15 in the
yeah.
afternoon.
And,
Um,
and the New York Post did release her name.
mhm,
Y'all can just look it up for yourself.
okay.
Just
Um,
for respect out of her eyes, just at this point, I don't really want to.
yeah,
Because I watched the video and I cried watching that cop cry. It made me very sad.
yeah,
So I'm gonna have to have you seen the BW?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was horrible.
yeah.
Why
Horrible.
do people decide to do that? I mean, why do you have to involve other people if you?
Thank you.
A suicide by
Fair.
cop. Because I
Yeah,
imagine that, the thought of, some people can't even take a splinter out of their finger. So just the thought of causing yourself pain is enough to deter you from whatever your end goal is which is apparently to die. So let's get someone else to do it. You know what I mean? And
it's like a little bit related, but not related as far as as it goes to life insurance. Because if you kill yourself, you might not be able to collect. Would this be a would you be able to collect life insurance from this situation? Because it was suicide, but it wasn't necessarily that person that
I
caused
don't
their own suicide.
I don't know. I would think that you wouldn't because it's kind of like an assisted suicide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I'm quite sure that they will investigate if she has a life insurance policy to, there'll be investigators to find out, like, did she write anything down? Did she tell anybody what her plans were? Um, you know, I would think that unless she did write it down or told a multitude of people, it would be very hard to prove whether or not it was suicide by cop. If she deliberately did this, or was it something that happened, did she plan to do it, or it's just something that came into her head? You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, either way, it's horrible because she could have killed that cop, and apparently this cop is apparently someone who really cares and is not uh in the image of what most people think cops are now, and out to just
Yeah.
kill people, especially, brown folks. This person was there just to watch the parade, do his job, and go home to his family. So this is truly one of those cops that, apparently cared about the community. You could have killed that man out of your own pain. I'm not.
Could have
It's,
killed other people.
Could yeah.
and it's hard to say, it's hard not to say that she was being malicious, but people in a lot of pain, whether it's physical, mental, or spiritual pain, they do some crazy stuff. And
And I immediately thought, like, you know what, he must be like Officer Norman because his feelings immediately drew me into Officer Norman. I immediately thought about him. I don't Not just because they are the same ethnicity,
mhm,
but because of his love and the way he took it emotionally, that he was just a cop that cared.
right.
And it just unfortunately happened to him. And if you don't know who Officer Norman is, please look him up because he is
Yeah, he's out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Um, but yeah, just I mean, just his actions after the shooting and seeing,
yeah.
his reaction. I'm like, you have to think about, like, he's a cop. He's policing a black community event. He has to shoot a young black girl, and she, was gravely injured. So I'm quite sure all of that is going through his head. What are people going to think about me? What are they going to think about my family? Is this going to turn into a thing where they're outside of my house protesting? And like, this man is really having to defend himself righteously at this point, because we've gone through this so many times, and we all are can be guilty of jumping the gun on, um, on vilifying someone. What in this case, you can't. In this case, unfortunately, this is what needed to be done to protect.
He had immediate reaction.
Yeah,
Immediate. I don't
but
think he
he
was
did
thinking
tell
about
her
all
to put
that.
her hands up.
When he was thinking about I killed somebody.
Yes.
I had
Yeah.
to kill somebody.
But in that case, it was for his own protection and for the protection of the people out there, especially in a city like Flint, where so many bad things have happened recently and continue to happen. And I think that just puts a, this is just one incident with one person, so it's not really a reflection on the city, but it does put a further blight on what is going on in that city. Um, it's very sad. So, um, yeah, that was last week. Now, the biggest thing that I have noticed over the last few weeks, y'all, is, and I first saw this on Instagram, my favorite place, Neighborhood Talk, because it's my favorite place
I
on
love
Instagram.
neighborhood talk.
No, love the Neighborhood Talk. I saw it, and before I could repost it or send it to anybody, Jackie sent it to me. This crazy ass man in Tampa, Florida, represented himself in his own murder trial.
Girl.
Yeah.
His name is Ronnie O'Neill the third. Like there was two of them before that. Like the two. But get this, he murdered his girlfriend and his own daughter.
Special needs daughter.
Yes.
And he cross-examined his 11-year-old son,
Who he also tried to hurt.
whom he also tried to kill.
He survived and lived.
Okay, so this man, this happened in 2018, March of 2018. He shot his girlfriend, and then he went back in the house and he stabbed and hatcheted his 9-year-old special autistic daughter, who barely could walk, y'all. So this baby has complete trust in her father, or maybe not, because apparently his ass is crazy.
I'm
Crazy
sure she did.
according to the streets, his ass is crazy. According to the psychiatrist, he's okay, but according to the streets, his ass is crazy. So she had barely any chance to get away from him. He stabbed his son and doused him in gasoline and set the house on fire. In court, he never denied that he killed these people.
Mm-mm.
But he's
Well,
like,
he did ask his son to
did
say,
I try to hurt you?
yeah.
He said yes. Yes, yes, Dad. Yes, Daddy.
But he's like, well, let me tell you why I did it. But we can't even express the theatrics of what happened in this case. Now we did Nico, what was Nico's last name? The guy,
I can't remember.
Nico
People
Nico
would call
Frazier.
the
Jenkins.
prison.
Nico
Okay.
Jenkins, okay. Nico Jenkins had that very demonic look on his face, in like silent demon look on his face in court. But I I would stretch to say that I would be more afraid of Ronnie O'Neill than I would be of Nico Jenkins.
I mean, he was yelling at everybody. Did you see the judge's face?
She was
Did you see her face?
she was looking like, if you don't get your line, if you don't get your extra.
Oh my God.
Wait. This was one of his saying. I did kill Kenyatta Barron, but I want you to tell it like it is if you're gonna tell it. What's there to tell? You killed.
Tell it like it is. So
What's when he was arguing? Because one of the clips that made headlines was that clip, him yelling at the prosecution, telling them, I killed him, but y'all gonna tell it. You gonna tell it like it is. That was what it was. And I had to go look up what he literally meant. And I'm like, what could he possibly,
What was left out?
you killed her. I mean, I don't
His
know.
mother, who she did not want her name released, and I don't blame her.
Me either.
His mother said that during the sentencing phase, that he had been in a random drive-by shooting a week or so prior to the murders. What the hell does that have to do with you murdering your family? What does it have to
Did he
do?
get shot in the head and he had some mental
Girl, if he got shot in the head, they should have shaved that shit off of his head. He looked
well, he
like
had
Groot.
time to get his wigs done, clearly.
He looked like Groot from Gardens of the Galaxy. Look, that shit off. And I know that's a Florida thing, the wicks and everything, but that right there, he looked like a whole mandrake plant. I, sir,
With
sir.
an ill-fitting suit.
And then
The
wait,
look on his face.
this is what the son said. He said, "Did I hurt you the night of the incident?" He said, "Yes." He said, "How did I hurt you?" He said, "You stabbed me."
Can we talk about now? It's highly unusual to have a child. They try to keep kids out of the courtroom. Okay, they try to take depositions and do video court, whatever they can do to keep a kid out of the courtroom. Uh, in normal circumstances, but in this case, you have the father who is representing himself, cross-examining his son about his own attempted murder and the murder of his sister and his mother.
That boy, his daddy being crazy ain't nothing new.
No, it isn't. It isn't because you can't convince me that that burst of violence that he had that night was new, and
No, it
that
wasn't
he had
new.
never seen that, and that Renevia was the baby, and Kenyatta was the mother. You can't tell me that. And he killed his own namesake. I just noticed that he
Mm-hmm.
killed his own namesake. Um, that they had not seen that before, and that did not cringe every time he came home. However, to have to defend, it's bad enough that you would have to see your father from the from the stand to the seat in the defendant's chair, but to have your father stand up in court and accuse you, feel like he's accusing you of lying about whether or not he hurt you,
Yelling.
yelling at you.
Yeah, he was yelling.
He yelled
Wait,
that
wait, here go
entire
another quote. So when they talk about the death sentence, he said, um, he pointed out, just like I'm going to be, right? Well, I was murdered a couple of times already before. So I'm cool with being murdered again. I'll just come back like Biggie Smalls.
Come back like who?
Biggie Smalls. He ain't came back. What is he talking about?
apparently the jury, because it came out that he was sexually abused as a child. For those people who have been sexually abused as children, the vast majority of sexual abuse victims do not go out and
To
murder.
slaughter your family.
Right. So the vast majority of people don't go out and commit murder, and especially like this. So I can't stand when that is always used as an excuse. Previous abuse as a child. I don't know about y'all, but a lot of people that I know gone through different types of abuse as children.
The fact that he decided to represent himself shows you that something is wrong. Because he didn't really present his case at all. All he did was sit up there and yell.
Yeah. And like in these in the instances where someone wants to represent themselves, there's always a court appointed defense team, an actual
Like this the whole time.
lawyer who
Like,
who can provide the legal precedents and ask for documents and things like that. But they were like, what
Probably like this.
the
Like this right here, Brittany.
and as a lawyer, you have to be associated with this case. Your name is on this case forever. Forever. So he was convicted of the two first-degree murder charges. He was up for the death penalty. He did not get that. The jury somehow sympathized with his previous trauma. They said that he had a PTSD. Okay, he has PTSD, but let's think about the survivor. This 11-year-old had to witness or had to hear you shoot his mother and damn near decapitate his sister with a hatchet and stab him multiple times. So basically, you've created a potential murderer yourself.
Yep.
And I don't know what
That,
gasoline feels like in stab wounds. So
right. So if the theory is that violence against you creates more violence, and then his mother, Ronnie O'Neal III's mother. I know that's your child, ma'am, but there will be no way that I will be able to defend that. The only thing I can do is go in that courtroom and sit silently.
Pretty
That's the
much.
only thing I will be able to do.
The
That
only
would be
thing I
the
want
only
to do.
way.
That's the only thing I want to do.
That's the only way I would be able to show support for my child is just to be here. Like, this is my child, this is my issue out of my body, and I have to be here. But what I will not do is utter a word in your defense because there is none.
right.
There is none because at this time, my support and my words have to go to the child that is left. Because obviously, this boy, Ronnie O'Neal, was rotten from the core a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very interesting to find out what the first two Ronnie O'Neals, who they were. It would be very, because
Right.
where did he get this abuse from? How did he get PTSD? He didn't get PTSD in a week from being in a drive-by. He didn't. You know
No.
how many drive-by shootings I have heard, witnessed, and ducked from, and I don't
Okay.
got PTSD?
Okay. For real, for real.
Or even if you did, you ain't went and slashed up your family.
No.
Kid at that.
If the videos, if you have not seen the antics of this man in court, I will post them. Um, it's just crazy. It's just crazy that he would even have the audacity to get up there and try to defend himself. And what makes it worse for me is his expressions. He always has this smirk on his face,
Mm-hmm.
um, as if he doesn't care, that it's all a joke to him. How can you kill your own issue, your namesake, and it's a joke to you? What is your motive behind this? Like, you really tried to take out your entire family.
And then representing yourself like it was okay. Like, I had a good reason. He just
I
never presented the
But
reason.
never gave the reason.
Right. He just never gave the reason. I had
no,
a good reason. I just didn't refuse to share it with y'all. But there was a reason, clearly, because he feels that it was okay what he did, because he chose to represent himself.
I
He's
it's
gonna come back like Biggie, even though we still waiting for Biggie to come back. Now, if he would have said Tupac, because folks say Tupac is somewhere chilling
We
on
could.
some island
I'm,
somewhere, but
I'm
he
not
said
really
Biggie, and I ain't heard Biggie he ain't been nowhere.
I'm not really waiting for Biggie to come back. Is
Nah.
that bad?
Well,
Now,
I'm sure Miss Wallace is, but we have yet to hear of him resurfacing anywhere.
Mm-mm.
yeah, I mean, if you talk about Tupac Amari Shakur, that'll be a different thing.
Well,
But
they said that he's resurfaced, but
that
I'll be waiting
Tupac,
at the airport.
yeah,
say
but
that Tupac was in Cuba with Asada Shakur, because she's still in exile.
I heard he's a Hare Krishna now.
That Tupac is a Hare Krishna.
He's a Hare Krishna now.
He at the airport with things.
Yeah. Ding ding ding.
No,
the little drum thingy. That's what I heard. But I ain't heard
Mhm.
about Biggie
I ain't
being
heard nothing about Biggie. That's a fact.
Biggie laid his burdens down.
Somebody laid the burden down for him.
Well, yeah, he's yet waiting for the return of the Lord.
Mm.
So,
Do you think we should talk about Tupac and Biggie?
hmm?
Do you think we should talk about them in in a future episode?
About how
I don't know.
both of them.
Let the
I don't
folks
have a problem with
decide.
that because I love
With
talking about Tupac.
with our theory on who we think did it.
Put up a poll and see what the folks say.
Ooh, put up a poll. I
I
like
mean,
that.
Maybe we can invite Tupac on the show to discuss.
listen, let me tell you, I do not, as much as I admire Tupac, I don't want to. I don't. I, no.
You see how you freaked out when you saw it on my T-shirt? Remember you saw it on my T-shirt? You were like, "Girl,
Yes.
Girl,
Freak
he
the
he
hell
down
out.
there at the LAX airport.
I'm good on that. I am good on that. Like I like to be connected to my ancestors and those who have passed on, but I like to be connected to them in meditation, not actual physical contact. Like
Good
I'm
Christian.
I'm
It will
so
be
good.
a Zoom.
Now
Via
I'm
Zoom.
good. I don't want to see Whitney. I don't want to see none of them. Bob Marley. I mean, no. I I want to see you on the ancestral plane, but not on the plane to Seattle. Like I'm not trying to get that. No, no.
Girl,
I I
I'm
don't want
telling
to.
you, he's down at the LAX airport.
Well, when I fly into LAX next month, I'm gonna be looking out for Tupac and see if he's in one of them orange robes. 'Cause-
yeah."
So I think yeah. Oh, let's just wrap up Ronnie O'Neal. So he has been convicted uh, of the two murders, also arson charges for burning down the house, and he has been given life without the possibility of parole. So he will die in prison. I just want everyone to pray for his son, um,
Yes.
the survivor. That child is definitely going to need the best possible care and uh, love. I want to say this, and this might seem a little wrong, but I pray that his grandmother is not the one who gets custody of him. His paternal grandmother. I pray that that's not the case, because obviously you fucked it up the first time. Um, no, I don't think that the children should go to the parents of the perpetrator. Like I don't think ever, ever. Like even if you're not in support of it, I still don't think that the children should go to the parent of the person that killed their mom. You know, the other parent. No, don't no. I don't think so because you fucked it up the first time.
Well, we don't know exactly everything that happened.
We don't.
He could have been raised by his grandmother.
We don't. Which I listen. I don't think that the boy should go to anybody on that side of the family. I really don't. I in this case, this is my
He
opinion.
has mental health issues.
I think that the child should be, if possible, adopted out to his family that is not connected to him. I really do.
I
Because
don't think he should
because
I think
either
that
way,
just brings additional trauma. I
because
mean,
either way, the family is going to be biased. His mother's family or his father's family, they're going to bring a bias to him. And it's, if it's his mother's family who gets custody of him, they're going to have this bitterness and hatred towards his father's family, naturally, quite naturally. And so he's that is going to stay within him. He's not going to be able to release that. And then if his father's family gets him, then you have to remember that I am in the belly of the
But
sea.
we all have a crazy cousin or somebody in the family, and we don't agree with what they do or how they act or whatever. And I would hate to not be able to see my nephew because of what my brother or so and so did, and I totally disagree with that what that family member did with that family member, period. and my nephew was lost to me forever for something that had nothing to do with it.
I can understand that. I can understand that.
Because I
But
can be totally, I'll be like, yeah, your daddy was effed up. I ain't mess with him. I mean, I didn't want him to know where I live. Don't give him my number. I don't want to see him on Thanksgiving. If you gonna invite him over, I'm staying at the house. And then he go kill his whole family, and I have a connection with his kids, and I can't see them anymore because my crazy ass brother done went, and I done already separated myself from him, and now I gotta separate myself from my
from the
niece and
from the
my
yeah,
nephew.
I can understand that. But I still think that maybe an open situation where the new parents or foster parents allow certain family members, contact, supervised contact with certain family members, yes. But
I'm sure this level of craziness and violence is not new to this boy. And he's old enough to realize that this is my dad is crazy as hell, and he did this to my family. And I think he can separate his dad
he's
from
11.
at 11. I would have been able to separate the difference between my crazy ass dad and the family members that I love that I know would not do this to me. He
Yeah,
might have already been estranged from his dad. The family could have been estranged from the dad.
yeah,
I mean, we don't know. That boy's old enough.
But at
Think
the
about
time
you
that
as
he killed
11.
her, but at the time he killed her, wasn't they still dating?
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he could, and both of the children were by the one lady that he. I mean, they were. I'm agreeing with you, but I also agree with Brandy. So I don't know. That's that on that.
I think he's old enough to
I understand the
separate.
importance of the family connection because we all need that.
Right.
We need some familiarity. But what I'm saying is for the immediate mental safety of the child. Yes, he is used to his father being this way. But given the end game, given the final act that he committed, that's different. That's on a whole nother level of being able to differentiate between good family members and bad. This boy needs help that you know what I mean? Like it's different because the domestic abuse, yeah, you could probably go to a grandmother or an aunt or an uncle that can give you that blanket of protection for a weekend or for a week or for summer vacation to get away from the situation in your house. We've all experienced that, trying to get away from what's going on day to day in your house. But when it comes to that level of violence and you, that's a stamp that's going to be on him forever.
And
And
then he may the only connection he has of his mother might be his grandmother or his aunt or his uncle on his mom's side, and he may be craving that part of him that he doesn't have anymore.
yeah, it's true.
So it would be up to, I think, a professional and what the boy is thinking of where he should go. I mean, I don't think he should be torn away from his family, and his family should be torn away from him from a deed that his father did.
This is
That's
I-
punishing everybody who's already being punished because they're missing two of their family members who've been
right,
killed by this man.
right.
And I think it would just be too much trauma tearing him away from everyone, because he knows right and wrong, and he knows who did what. He's old enough to make a decision. At that age, he would be, if there was a divorce, he'd be old enough to make a decision on who he wanted to go with. So if
Mm.
his grandmother coddled his dad and made excuses for him, and he's seen his daddy beating up his mama, he know I might not go want to stay with Grandma Georgine, because you know she be putting up with what all the antics that my dad deals with. So I think he's old enough. He's older. This boy got on the stand and looked
And
his father
five
in the
father,
eye and said, "You did this to me." That boy, he's 11, but he ain't 11.
right? It's just it.
I don't think I wouldn't agree with and I'm not saying his mother's side. I'm okay with that. I don't think it would be something I would be quick to put him over there with the dad's mom. I'm not saying not to embrace her eventually, but I think it would be too traumatic to put him in a situation with her because you don't know what, also because she's been so forgiving of her son being the type of criminal that he is, that she has potential also as well to be like, okay, well, it really wasn't that bad, you know? Now she didn't, now she's trying to coddle in him to think a different way about the situation because he is smart enough to understand. And also because he has a love and respect for his grandmother. Now here she is. I'm not saying this would happen. I'm saying potential, but on his mother's side, I definitely think he should have full range to everyone. But that dad's side, I don't know about that.
I think on both sides of the family,
Grandma.
though, in a situation like this, on both sides, they're going to be biased based on their trauma, based on what they've lost. They've both lost. You know, on his father's, the paternal side, they've lost Ronnie, and they've
Right.
lost the little girl. And on the mother's side, they've lost Kenyatta and the little girl. So you're both dealing with loss, and you have this child that's in the middle, and he is. And the thing about kids, especially little boy kids, little man child, um, he would, and I again, we are speculating like a mug out here, but I can just imagine that he tried to take the brunt of the abuse away from his mother and his sister when his father would come home and possibly do whatever and ranting and raving. Because if that man was ranting like the way he ranted in the court, I can just imagine what he did without supervision.
Right.
So if he was coming home and ranting and raving like this, I can imagine that this little boy puffed up his chest and said, I have to protect my mom and my sister.
The natural
And
instinct.
so he's going to carry that survivor's guilt. He's going to carry that mantle of I did not save them into his, further on in his life. So if his family members, especially his mother's family members, he's going to try to protect them as well. So he's going to take all of the chatter from both sides, and he's going to hold that on his little bitty shoulders because he doesn't, he's still in protector mode.
Well, let's just hope that the boy goes to see a professional and they
Yeah.
can sort
Absolutely.
it out. Because even if he goes with another family that he has not connected to, that boy is going to has trauma.
Okay, think about when we did oh Lord, what's that woman name? The woman from Detroit, we put the kids in the freezer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, um, I forget her name. The one who was proud. She did.
Yes.
Um,
Um Michelle.
yeah,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Her 4-year-old, the one that she said that started the whole thing. He went to a different family. Like they kept his name out of the media. But this is a 4-year-old child who was 4 or 5 at the time of the murders. Um, they put him with a different family. He didn't go with his father. He didn't go with anybody. But different circumstances because she really didn't have, they really didn't have that many viable candidates for custody at that point. But given the fact that he is 11 and he's going to remember so much, that makes this that much harder to place him. His trauma makes it harder to place him. Now you're talking about a serious case of PTSD.
So
And
even babies, you think babies don't know, but babies know. Like just from taking the foster class, they were talking about specific things that if a baby does, do you think a baby doesn't remember? But a baby, they were talking about certain characteristics that a child will present even at young age, even in a infant or a toddler. You think, oh, they'll grow up and they won't remember. They may not remember the specifics, but their behavior will will continue on throughout, and they may not know exactly why their behavior is this way, but it doesn't matter what age the child
the
is.
body, the body,
There's, there's
the body
trauma still there.
remembers. I mean, you think about maybe the last 5, 10 years you've heard about uh African Americans having PTSD. And because we carry this in our very DNA, like our DNA has been altered as Black Americans to carry trauma, and we carry that in our bodies.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand exactly what that means. Like, say for instance, people always say, well, you weren't a slave. That is irrelevant when you hear certain things. You're carrying that trauma in your body. For those people who have visited plantations, it's not just a historical journey and, oh, I'm looking at the wall. When you visit a place like that, it is, I kid you not, it is as if you are walking into your own personal history. Like you are seeing
Mhm.
something that you have seen, not even with your eyes, your spirit, your body feels it. Um, Brandy and I,
Even when I first moved here, I had never been to the South. Never. So even now, after being here all these years, sometimes I'll just look and there'll be like a little foresty area, and I'm thinking, somebody was running for their life through there.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Whenever I see a
Mhm.
cotton field, which I see a lot, I'm like, my folks was over there picking that cotton.
yeah,
Mhm.
And get to know those weren't my folks because we don't have no history. We
right,
don't know our history really. We don't know our history pretty much 1877 probably or 1865 up maybe.
right,
And we don't even know if that's our true you know history.
yeah. See,
So
m- part of Brandy's grandfather and my grandfather are brothers, and I visited our great grandparent home dozens of times in Alabama, and their home used to be on the plantation. So where our great grandparents' home was at the back of the plantation. That the house is burned down, but the skeleton of that home is still there. And when I was a kid, there was a slave cemetery, maybe 300 yards from my great grandparents' house.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's very close to you. It's very close, and you can feel it. And in a place like Alabama, you feel it. It's there. The spirits are there. Brandy and I visited and I know Brandy had been there before, but we visited the Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham. And if I tell you I was so traumatized by this, when we were approaching, it's across the street from the 16th Street Baptist Church. And as we're approaching the church, I'm driving and I don't know what to do because I'm nervous. And then we get out of the truck and we go and
Yeah,
we're
I'm
at
fighting.
the basement of the church. And I'm just, tears are like, right now I just want to cry because I wasn't there in 1963, but I felt it. I
Mhm.
felt it when you stand there at that basement door. You feel what happened there. That is the trauma that we carry. So you can, and then going inside the museum and you're seeing the exhibits. And I swear, I broke. I don't know whose purse it was. I don't know whose shoes it was. One of those four little girls.
Oh,
Their purse
child.
and their shoes was in a display case, and I completely lost it because I could imagine. And then the display case, when you look out the window to the right, the church is right there. The park where the children's march was is on the other side of the street.
mhm.
So you can, these things did not happen to me personally, but these are traumatic events that Black people carry. I'm quite sure victims, South African victims of the apartheid, Sudanese victims of civil war, those in Rwanda, that is in your DNA. You carry that trauma. And you can just imagine these kids nowadays whose parents have done something to them or they have seen something personally, what that means, because we're already afraid of white people, not individuals, but we're afraid of the white machine, the establishment, because we know what it does. So just think about what this little boy is going to go through in his fear of men. His fear of men could actually flip over and make him a victim of men.
Yeah.
So all of that, and his father apparently suffered sexual abuse. Who was the abuser?
Mm.
Where is the abuser?
Uncle
Is
Pete and
it your
them that they
neighbor?
hide. Uncle
The
Pete
back
that they
room.
hide.
Right. Which Uncle Pete was it? Is the abuser still alive so that Ronnie O'Neill III had to look at his abuser his entire life leading up to the moment where he killed his girlfriend and his daughter?
Hmm. That's
So
real.
is that type of behavior going to continue with his son?
We just gotta pray that that is some kind of he gets help. That it,
That
you
there's
know,
some sort of relief there. And it's bad because abuse is generational. And
Ooh, it
where is the
is.
cycle going to stop? And unfortunately, it did not stop. It does not stop here. It
That's
does
so
not
true.
stop here.
I literally was
It,
just talking about this the other day. Abuse is generational. You have
and
to
it's not going to stop.
somehow try to figure out how to break the generational curse. Sexual abuse is something that's generational in my family, and my mama broke that. So it's just crazy. It's so crazy that you said that
Yeah.
because it really is.
And maybe that's what we don't really think about when we say like Ronnie O'Neill. He looks like the villain and he is the villain. But
Yeah.
if the abuse that his mother and the defense said that he suffered is true, where is his abuser?
Hmm.
And if he has PTSD, how did he have to look this abuser in the face, this Uncle Pete or this grandfather or this father or whoever family friend, did he have to look them in the face all the time? And that continue. And so you never get away from your trauma.
or an auntie,
Or an auntie,
female cousin.
you
Mm,
know, you never get to absence be absent from your trauma. It
mm,
is always there for you. And it would be very interesting to know if Ronnie O'Neill III suffered this abuse and continued in his head to suffer this abuse because that person was always there in his face.
mm-hmm. Good question. Good
But
deal.
y'all just can't go to your pastor. Y'all need to get some help.
So
Yeah,
Get some real help. You can't just
real
go.
help.
Always just go to the pastor. Pastor ain't always qualified to deal with something.
yes, prayer changes things, but therapy heals. So see your doctor.
Damn. Mm.
Prayer changes things, but therapy heals. And
I'm
that's
gonna
what
shout it on that Brent.
his mother is going to need therapy. The son
Okay.
will need the therapy, and also Ronnie O'Neill III, the convicted murderer, will need therapy because
And
even if he
medication possible.
committed, even though he's a lifer now and he committed the murders, he needs therapy for what happened to him prior to March 18th, 2018.
Mhm.
And he ain't gonna get it.
No,
No.
because he's a lifer. They don't care now. They don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care. All right, so I almost cried because talk about the
Hell, they barely cared when he was out, so they definitely gonna care for now.
they don't care now. Care now. All right, y'all. We are going to go ahead and in this show. We are going to come back next week with episode 47. We will return to our regular programming and talking, getting our church announcements, things on Al Gore's internet, and then our story. This week we just really wanted to play catch up because we've been gone and welcome you all back and then welcome new users. So we will see you all next week. In the meantime, be safe, be blessed, and enjoy that second cup. We'll see you next week. Bye.